I just finished preparing my segment about the Cincinnati Bengals.
And for Strong Opinion Sports.
Yes, for Strong Opinion Sports. And it's so fun to compare the way the Cincinnati Bengals are run to the way this brewery is run. We met one of my favorite groups of people I've ever met. I've gone on so many adventures. I've probably met thousands of brewers in my adventures with you, if not at least hundreds of brewers and breweries that run breweries and make beer. And this is one of my favorite groups of people I've ever met, from the ownership to the people brewing to the guy, the salesman who does sales for the brewery. The people just moved me. Their beer was incredible. And I want to just have a conversation about how well they're run and everything they do.
So a little background. You earlier this year, you got our tickets and our trip set up.
Yeah.
And you were just in a hurry to get it done, and you were thinking that Saturday you'd have to watch college football games.
Yeah.
So you wanted to fly in Friday. You're going to be in your room watching college football games, and then Sunday we'll go into the game, the NFL game.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, I'm going to head out, man. If I'm in Cincinnati, I'm going to do...
If I'm there on Saturday.
Yeah, if I'm there on Saturday, I'm going to do podcasts. I'm going to do episodes of the Craft Beer Podcast. I'm going to do episodes of the Culinary Treasure Podcast. Heck, I want to film some footage for the Culinary Treasure Show, a new show I'm doing. I'm going to maximize this. So I set up some different appointments with us on the culinary side and on the beer side. And, looking for breweries, I found what I thought would be a pretty cool brewery, Northern Row Brewing. So as time comes, it turns out, there's really only one major football game happening that Saturday because everything ended the week before. So you're like, you'll go with me. So you went out with me on the adventure. So our third culinary stop of the day was actually a beer stop, and we go to Northern Row Brewing. They've been brewing beer for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Their tap room is going to open hopefully January
End of
2020,
January, roughly.
maybe February 2020, and the public can finally go to the tap room and drink their beer. And that's so we filmed with them. We recorded a podcast with them.
We were the first media ever to talk to them, right?
Yeah, ever to film there. Yep. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll get to the people in a second, but what did you think of the space of the tap room?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm just saying that a lot. Oh my gosh. It was just, you walk in and there's wood everywhere. And can I tell you the story of the wood that can tell them?
Yeah.
The owner is passionate about woodworking and
David
passionate
Berger.
about, yes, and he's good with metal. And there's the floor where the brewing space happens, where they brew the beer. You can't have a wood floor, so they tore up the floor in that area. And they're like, well, we have all this wood, though, from the old floor. And they repurposed all of it. And the reason why you can't have wood floor where you brew is because, if you don't know, beer spills when you brew beer.
Well, they use a lot of water, and water gets on the floor.
Yes, and so you couldn't have a wood floor. So that wood they had a bunch of wood, and they repurposed it for the tables and the shades they used to cover the windows.
Yeah, these cool rolling shutters that are
beautiful.
just amazing. Huge rolling
on metal
shutters.
that he made. And there's the tables are made of wood, but then the foundations and the frames for the table are old rail cars that came from cranes that he took the wood and the metal and repurposed for that. It's the most beautiful. I'm going to go on a limb and just be bold with it. It's the most beautiful tap room I've ever seen. It's just an incredible art. It's art.
Yeah, I'm excited. Once I get that footage out and that show comes out, I'll provide you a link so you can add it later. This will come out before that does, so you can add a link to the comments because it is, or to the first, however you guys do it, that special YouTube thing. But so it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Okay, how about the beer?
Oh, man. You know me, I'm not a beer guy. I don't. Tell the story about.
Oh my God, beer guy! You're not an alcohol guy. Oh my goodness! I love to drink. I love alcohol.
It's part of your brand, literally.
Yeah, I love wine. I love cocktails. I love martinis. I love beer. It's all good. Bring on the alcohol. You turned 21 last year, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Oh, I'm working. I got to make videos. I get too busy to go have any alcohol. So it was like 5 weeks later when we're in Bozeman, Montana for Bozeman Craft Beer Week that I finally got to take you out for your first beer ever. You've been 21 for like 6 weeks.
And then later, man, there was a day where we were in Bandon, Oregon. It's stormy outside. We're having Chinese food, and you're like, Zach, you want to drink? I'm like, nah, I'm good. And the bartender makes fun of me, so she got me to drink. I can't even remember what I drank.
She made you a Shirley Temple with vodka. I felt so sad for you. But but that's okay. We tease. Yes. I tease that I bully you to drink alcohol. I don't really bully you, but it's kind of a funny thing. We're at the bar, the bartender's kind of like, they expect you to drink and maybe not me because I'm old now.
And it's always the opposite. I'm like, can I get a water and a juice?
But you'll have something, but you generally don't finish it, and beer's not your thing.
I rarely find a beer that I find worth drinking the entire thing
that you love.
Yeah, I'll sip a beer. Like when I go with my friends, I'll get a beer and I'll sip it. I never really finish it. It just doesn't. Beer rarely tastes. I drink for taste. I don't drink to get drunk. I'm never a drunk guy.
Yep.
It's not who I am. And I rarely find a beer that tastes good enough for me to go, I'm going to drink the whole thing. I had 5 beers that night. Like, drank the whole thing, and I wasn't drunk. You and I both. I think these were in our blood.
But we were working. It was 5 beers over like 6 hours.
Yeah, true. But we also just handle beer really well, I think.
Yeah.
And they had they had a Helles beer, which is, I want to describe it. I've been describing it to my friends this way. I would compare it to, and not the taste, but the way that vanilla ice cream is very, very, there's not a lot in vanilla ice cream. There's no sprinkles. There's no cookie dough. There's no weird flavors. It's just vanilla.
It's very basic.
Very basic. Thank you. And you can't hide vanilla's problems with sprinkles and other crap. It's got to be good, well-made ice cream. Helles beer is the same way. It's very basic. There's not a lot of flavors. There's not a lot of hops. Not all this and that. You got to just be a really good brewer to make good Helles beer.
Yep.
It was phenomenal. I had 2 glasses and I loved it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. The Helles, that was an incredible Helles. And you generally don't like, I love the dark beer. I call them Christmas beers. 12% dark, chocolatey, roasty. And you love their, what they call their export porter.
Yeah, if I ever drink, I drink a lighter, it's got to be like a citrus beer is usually what I drink. And I never drink all of it because I just need a lighter beer. And dark beer always rubs me the wrong way. It's never good to me. Oh, I had 2 glasses of their dark beer.
The porter.
The porter. Porter! It's dark. It tastes like, I don't even, it was just smooth and perfect. And it was just so well made. I had the whole thing and I had 2 of them.
Yeah, and I was really impressed because, you know, I go to a brewery and I try a lot of their beers, and there'll be 2 or 3 or 4 that stand out to me, and then the rest are kind of okay.
Yeah.
But I had a wit beer. I had the porter. I had the Helles. I had a hazy IPA. I had an IPA. I had a barley wine. And they were all good.
Phenomenal.
It's like, wow, there wasn't one that I didn't want more of, which was really impressive to me.
Yeah.
So the beer was good. Now, how about the people? So we met quite a bit of the people. We met the brewer. We met the guy that works in the brewery and runs the distillery. Brendan, who does sales and distribution. We met David, the owner, and we got to meet them. We got to visit with them. We got to film them, interview them. What was your sense?
Oh man, I think we met the head distiller and the head brewer, and both of them are incredibly talented, and they're great at what they do. And then before we get to the owner, I want to talk about, we met the sales guy. I have a friend of mine who sells cars.
Brendan Douglas. The Brendan
Douglas. He's the sales guy for Northern Row. But a side story is I know a guy from high school who sells used cars now. He's a salesman. And he's awful. He tells me stories of, he's smarmy. He sells cars that are busted to people and he lies about them. And I hate what he does. I hate talking to him, but it wears me out because his life sounds awful to me. And he rips people off all the time. And he's just that typical guy, the schmoozer that can sell anything. And I've never liked hanging out with a salesman like that. It just never feels right to me because they just feel like liars. We met Brendan Douglas, who's the sales guy for Northern Row, and he's not that. He's not schmoozing you. He's not trying to, like, some guys are overly aggressively trying to sell you stuff. Brendan is just like, our beer's really good. And he knows he has a good product. And he doesn't have to lie about it. He can just be honest, and then he can work on building good relationships and being a nice guy. And it's rare you meet a salesman who's not that overly ambitious, like in-your-face, sleazy guy. And Brendan was the opposite. He was poised. He was calm. He wasn't talking quickly. He's just like, our product's really good, and you can taste it, and it'll speak for itself. And then he worried about just being friends with you and being nice and authentic. And I was so grateful that that's who we met. I was like, man, like, of all the sales guys I've ever met, you are the best and the most centered of anyone.
Well, I just want to throw a defense out to sales guys. There's lots of sales guys and sales gals that it's a noble profession.
Yeah.
And they aren't like your friend that sells used cars. So you'll meet more over time, but there are a lot of good people out there doing sales.
I think selling a product you believe in is awesome. I would have such a hard time selling a product I didn't believe in. I know people do it and they do it well. And for me, I could never do it. I just could never. If I didn't believe my product was awesome, I'd have a really hard time selling it.
So did you have a sense that those people working at the brewery liked their job and liked working at the brewery?
They loved it. They were passionate about it.
Did you have a sense they liked their boss, the owner?
Yeah. The example I made on Strong Opinion Sports, I talked about the Cincinnati Bengals are poorly run. They're about to draft a new player named Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is going to be expected to turn around the franchise.
That's your guess. Your guess is they're going to draft Joe Burrow.
Yeah, what's going to happen? I mean, he's from Ohio. The point is that no matter how good Joe Burrow is,
the Bengals screw things up. So I hope.
Fair enough. I hope not too. I hope for his sake I don't. But the point is they're going to bring in a really talented person, and it's not going to have a single impact on their franchise. It's not going to matter. Because if you have really talented people and then you put handcuffs on them and you don't let them be creative and free to do it their way and the way they think is right and follow their heart, it doesn't matter.
So what do good owners do?
The ownership at Northern Row Brewery said, we want to make German beers. So we're going to bring in brewers that make German beers. Great. They got a good fit. Then they made it clear, this is our expectation. I don't know what they are, but whatever our expectation is, this is what it is. They said that. They said it was important. They laid out the expectation. And then everything after that, they said, hey, brewers, go be creative. We'll give you the tools you need. You know what the expectations are. Go do it your way. They don't micromanage. They don't put handcuffs on them. They let these creative, incredible brewers do what they do, which is make beer best.
So good owners have set clear expectations and give you the resources you need to execute on those expectations.
And then they get out of the way. They just get out of the way. Don't get in the way of the people that are creators. You see this with movies all the time, or movie studios. The director has a great vision, and then the movie studio comes in and says, well, change this, change this, change this. And they screw up the movie. It's not quite as good. All the time you see ownership or management or people with finances really at the top screwing up the creative process. This did not happen here. The reason why every single one of those beers you tasted that were phenomenal was because he had good ownership who understands, hey, I'm whatever, is it David Berger?
Yep,
David Berger loves beer, and he knows beer pretty well. But he also trusts that, hey, the guy I hired to be my head brewer probably knows brewing a little better than I do. That's huge. It's so important. And then I'm going to go on a little tangent. The Cincinnati Bengals don't have a general manager, which is the person who picks the players. The owner does. And man,
the owner is the general manager, but it's not an official title for him.
The hubris of the owner to say, I'm the guy that picks the players because I know better than football people is so insane to me. It's like me starting a brewery tomorrow, me, Zach Shomler, and saying, I'm the head brewer, I get to pick how things are run, but I'm going to hire a guy to do the head brewing. I'm just going to have the title to myself and then micromanage the guy who does it. It doesn't work. The incredible brewers at Northern Row Brewery would not be as good if the ownership handcuffed them and got in their way. And so it's the most streamlined. It's just the best business I think I've been around in a long time where ownership gets it, the sales guy gets it, and then these incredible creative people that could succeed anywhere but succeed at the level they do because they're given the tools they need, the brewers. It's just everything about it is a well-run organization, and I love and admire a well-run organization.
So I love the people, I love the beer, I love the space. We got to go in this really cool elevator and go up on the roof, which is really awesome.
It's a 5-story building overlooking, it's at the end of Over the Rhine, which is a neighborhood in Cincinnati, and you can see the whole Cincinnati skyline at night from the top of their building.
It was pretty impressive.
It was awesome. Do you have anything to add? I feel like I talked way too much.
Oh, I think you did fine. I will not be surprised that if you do move to Cincinnati, that one day a week next fall, you will be hanging out at Northern Row Brewing, drinking a Hellas, doing your writing.
I'm going to bring my laptop. I'm going to plug in on the side. I'm going to have a Hellas next to me, and I'm going to drink and probably have whatever food they sell and do work there. It seems like a wonderful workspace.